Okay, this is going to be our last news piece this week, and it's something that, yeah, was I was just like, yo, what is happening? Right? Because I saw this thing about Snow White, right? The upcoming Disney live action remake, and the fact that the son of uh the director of the original, cartoon, he is pissed, right? He's pissed. He's pissed at the new one, right? He said the guy's called David Hand. Right, he said it's a whole different concept, and I just totally disagree with it. And I know my dad and Walt would, and well, he says Walt, he's Walt Disney. Right, he said my dad and Walt would also very much disagree with it. He said it's a disgrace, and that Disney is trying to do something new with something that was such a great success earlier. Says their thoughts are just so radical now. They changed the stories, they changed the thought process of the characters, they're making up new woke things, and I'm just not into any of that. I find it quite frankly a bit insulting, which they may have done with some of these classic films. There's no respect for what Disney did and what my dad did. I think Walt and he would be turning in their graves. Now, this dude is 91, right? So, I don't know, man. I wouldn't even be fucking interviewing a 91-year-old about this shit because he gonna say some crazy ass shit, right? And the thing with this is because, man, I feel it was last year, when they would, before they started filming, there was all this uproar, right? Because you had a load of little people, man, like terms change so much. Terms change, right? So I don't know, like short person, midget, right? Dwarf. Now it is dwarfism, but not all short people have dwarfism. So I'm gonna say little people because I do not know what other term to use. Right? So hey, don't be offended. You know what I mean? Because I'm not being offensive. I just do not know what other fucking term might be there. But so a whole heap of little people complained about the film, right? Complained, being like, oh, yes, the seven dwarfs is so offensive to our society, and blah 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 blah, and all of this. Now, it's one of these things, right? So Disney changed it, right? So this new adaptation is using magical creatures, right? They're using magical creatures. But the thing is, it's magical creatures of all different sexes. Now, that's one of the things that I'm like, say what? Because if it's a creature, you know, I'm like, it's a creature. So what are we doing with different sexes? Like that is a little bit that's a little bit baffling to me. But yeah, that's what this new version is doing. So they removed the dwarfs, which, and I feel it's a lose-lose situation because that's the thing. Like you change the story to try and reflect current viewpoints and all of that, And then you have people going like, oh, why did you make these changes? And then other people are like, oh, you haven't made enough changes, right? Which then brings in the star of the film, Rachel Ziegler, right? Who came out with some crazy things, which I definitely think are bullshit. Ah, you know, and she's like, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. Weird. So we didn't do that this time, right? We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story. Just because we cast a guy in the movie, all of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby, she added. So which is just weird. So you're like, yeah, cut out my co-star's shit. Also said, we absolutely wrote a Snow White that she's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's going to be dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and that her late father told her she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. Right now, she's also been like, ugh. Yeah, I watched it once and I was disgusted. So I never watched it, which I do not believe. But she's like, when she was a little kid, she watched it. And people like to make these crazy statements after the fact, right? They'll be like, "Oh yes, I remember my first fault when I was 2," which is like, "No, you didn't." I dated this chick once who was just like, "Oh, I remember when I was a little kid, I used to look out the window at school." And I'm like, "Okay." And I was like, "Yeah, I used to look at the pigeons and blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Yeah, that's what my mum told me." And I'm like, "Oh, so you don't actually remember doing that. You've just been told that, right?" And that's what happens. People get told a thing or want to believe, "Oh, this is what I would have liked to have thought I would have done. This is what I feel I feel I did this." And they didn't. They just didn't. And I don't know any fucking 5-year-olds who are watching something and being like, huh, wait, hold on. There in this film, she's dreaming about love. And shouldn't she be dreaming about becoming a success on her own 2 feet? I'm appalled. I will not watch this, mother, father. Take it off. Burn it. No, you fucking crazy ass fool. Listen, it's all well and good going, look, I think she could be dreaming about other things, which is fair, which is fair. But she could still also be going, I want to meet someone nice, right? Because, you know, it's something that I've talked about with my girl, right? And we met online, and we both talking about, right, what we were looking for, and it's like you're hoping to meet someone who is upstanding, right, as a moral compass, is decent, fair, you know what I mean, just a good egg. But you're not trying to rush it, right? You're not trying to jump on anyone that comes and says hello, right? But you're thinking it'd be nice to walk life with someone. It's not like I if I don't find someone, my life is ruined. It means nothing. No, you can still do whatever you want to do, but it'd be nice to share with someone. Right? So even though my girl is thinking this, it's not then taking away from her trying to be successful in work. Right? She signed up to do a degree, you know what I mean? A master's even. So it's just like she still has those aspirations, but she was looking to meet someone decent, right? Now, unfortunately to her, she met me. But hey, we don't always get what we want. You know what I mean? But this is the thing. It's just like, yo, we have to completely change one thing and make it this. When you could still have a story which is focusing on someone looking to become a queen, right? Looking to do a good job, a great job, but also going, hey, it'd be nice to share life with someone. And in that, she could meet several guys, right? There could be the ones that be like, I want to be a king. And then I'll and be like, yo, say, what? No, 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 no. I'm still ruling. You ain't taking over, motherfucker, until she meets her Prince Charming, who is someone who isn't trying to usurp her, who's trying to be her cheerleader, trying to help build her up, and she's building him up. That's a great story. You know what I mean? So it is, you know, because the original cartoon came out in 37, right? But the book by Brothers Grimm came out in 1812, right? 1812, people. The world was a fucking different place, right? It's a completely different place. So, you know, and the story even got changed a little, and a new version came out in 1854 and 57. So, just in that short space of time, things changed. But that's the rub, right? It's different to what it was. So you have, you know, this crazy old fucking 91-year-old, like my dad and blah, blah. Shut up. Your dad's legacy and Walt Disney's legacy is still there. The cartoon hasn't been gutted. They're not getting rid of that. They're just making a different adaptation. And if you're adapting something, because the cartoon was a classic, so why just duplicate? Bring some fresh ideas to it. I ain't got a problem with that. You know, I do think keep the seven dwarfs because, hey, it's giving little people a job, right? Because when you think about all the roles that people can do, now it's not to say little people can't do any other role, but there's certain things that they're not gonna like. You're not getting a little person cast as the next James Bond, right? Because that ain't gonna work, right? You couldn't be like, "Oh, we need to do." It's not gonna work. Now you can create a new franchise and work it where you know you have a little person as a spy, but it's gonna be a whole lot different, right? There's gonna be certain shit that you're not sending that spy to do. Come on now. You ain't doing it. So why are we fronting? Why are we trying to act like certain things are crazy? It's not crazy. The seven dwarfs were heroes in that cartoon, right? In the story. They save Snow White, right? So if you're updating it, add that shit, tell that story, empower people. You know what I mean? So yeah, stop with the fucking revisionist history bullshit where it's just like this is an evil story. It's not an evil story. It's a story of its time, right? It's a story of its time. And to say that women do not still, right? Go, I want to get married. I want to meet someone to fall in love with. There's a plenty of girls who still have that aspiration, right? Who aren't going, I want a high powered job. There's a lot of people that want that. People want different things, right? So to change everything and go, right, this is what No, it's stupid. Still have stories of empowerment, have stories that show different things that women and girls can aspire to do. Definitely do that, right? We definitely want to show people that. Now, I'm going to say this: the world is your oyster. That's not true, but right, there's just things that where there's barriers. We want to try and pretend there's not. There's fucking barriers still, people. The world is a better place than it was, but it's still fuckeries for a lot of people and different groups. So, but give people the hope, right? The aspiration. Definitely, we need to do that. But we don't have to tell that story. We don't have to shit on everything else. You feel me? So yeah, I think the Rachel Zegler stuff is kind of crazy. It was old, right? Well, when I say it's old, it wasn't like this was from 2000. No, I think this was like from 2019, something like that. But you know, actors lie, right? People lie, right? Most people lie, especially when you're saying something that's going to go into the world. Because people are like, I want people to think that I have this view, right? I've got to say this. You know what I mean? I've got to pretend this is what I feel. So I take this shit with a grain of salt anyway. But it's just crazy. It's just crazy. There is all of this uproar about fucking Snow White, right? Brothers Grimm, when they wrote this shit in 1812, I bet they did not think that it was going to stir up this can of worms. But boy, it sure has. It sure has, motherfuckers. All right. That's it with the news. Let's get into some TV shit.